Here's the latest in my line of musical education aids. I've made lots of these theory wheels for guitarists, for songwriters, for pianists, for basically anybody. My latest one is to do with musical intervals and technical names and all of that sort of stuff. Let's take a look. Here then is my musical wheel for intervals and technical names, and as you can see there's quite a lot of writing on here. Now this is once again two circles. You can move the top one with respect to the bottom one to get all of your keys and all of your starting notes. So looking at intervals first, an interval is a way of describing the distance between two notes. Not just in pitch, but also as they appear on the page. So, for example, C to G on the manuscript is a fifth. It's a perfect fifth. C to G flat, that's a diminished fifth. So you've actually closed the gap ever so slightly, but it still looks the same on the page. Likewise, C to F is a perfect fourth, but if you raise that F to an F sharp, you get an augmented fourth. So actually an augmented fourth and a diminished fifth, they sound the same, but they are written differently. Now that goes for basically any other interval. You can have minor second, major second, you can have an augmented second. Now this is obviously not on the sort of grade 5 theory books, but you can have C to D sharp. So it looks like two notes on the page, but you've sharpened the D, so you've actually augmented that interval of a second. You can call an octave, if you had a C and a B sharp above that, you can actually call that an augmented seventh. It's actually the same as an octave. Now that's not covered here because I didn't have enough paper, I didn't have enough room to put that. But as you can see, if we've got unison of C, now unison, if you have two C's together, it's called unison. It's basically a way of describing an interval that is 0 semitones. C to D flat is a minor second, C to D is a major second, C to D sharp is an augmented second. And they're all grouped in terms of seconds, thirds, fourths, fifths, sixths, etc. and sevenths. Now, that doesn't mean that the semitones count up on here. Indeed, actually, there's some crossover here. For example, if we go C minor third of E flat, augmented second is the same note, D sharp and E flat, but we've got an E double flat in between, or a diminished third. Now, of course, you know, if you're trying to do things like evaluate what a D double sharp and an A flat is on the page, well, D to A is a fifth, but of course D double sharp, that's going to close it a bit, and actually that sort of thing's not covered here. Now, you can get triple sharps and triple flats, and there are a couple of examples here. A triple sharp is the sharp symbol with the double sharp symbol next to it. Triple flat is three flats together. So it all starts to go a bit, oh, really? Oh, I don't understand. You're better off, if you're having to evaluate an interval like that, just down tools and go to the pub. Now, on the other side of the cutout here, we've got technical names. Now these are names given to notes in a major or a minor scale. Now starting with the major scale here, all of the technical names are written in red. Tonic is the first one, supertonic is the second, mediant the third, subdominant the fourth, dominant the fifth, mediant, which is the sixth, and leading note or leading tone being the seventh, and then you've got your perfect octave. You're back to your tonic again. Now, of course, you can flatten or sharpen any of these. In blue on here are the adjustments that you'd have for a minor scale. So, for example, a C minor scale, C minor's got three flats in its key signature. The E flat, which is the flattened third note with respect to the major, is also called the mediant. It only gets called the flattened mediant if you're in a major key, so C, D, E. If you're playing in C major and you want to modulate to the flattened mediant, you'd go to E flat major. Likewise, the sub-flat and sub-mediant, you can have that as well. So you can technically do that with any of these. I haven't included them all here because otherwise it's just a sea of nonsense. And it just gets a bit, oh no, again. So what I've done here, I've included all of the enharmonic equivalents. So for example, if we go this way, F and E sharp, and E sharp is a bad example because I just put it in because there were enough segments to do it, and so there's all sorts of triple nasties and there stuff there. So for example, A flat, the perfect fifth in A flat is E flat, but if I go round one stage I get to G sharp, which is basically the same sound but written differently. So G sharp to D sharp would be that perfect fifth interval this time. Generally speaking, when you're looking at an interval, you'd work from the bottom note to the top one. It's just a bit easier, but the distance between them, of course, is irrelevant which note you start on, but it's often easier to go from the bottom up. So there are, you can see there's F double sharp there. Yeah, you have to express these things because actually scales and intervals, they need to basically conform to the letters, the steps that you have on your musical stave. So there it is. Now, this wheel and all of my other ones will shortly be available on the Google Drive link. And of course, they're free to download. All I would ask, of course, is that you share my channel widely and subscribe and just check out some of my other videos.